What's going on, chat? How are we doing today? Happy Monday. Hope you guys are having a beautiful day today. Nice and sunny out today. Got a chance to throw the ball around, play a little soccer. Go to the gym is also as mandatory. But without further ado, let's get into chapter number 9. Persistence, the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. The 8th step to riches. Persistence is an essential factor in the procedure of transmuting desire into its monetary equivalent. The basis of persistence is the power of will. Willpower and desire, when properly combined, take an irresistible pair. People who accumulate great fortunes are generally known as cold-blooded and sometimes ruthless. Often they are misunderstood. What they have is willpower, which they mix with persistence and use as the basis of their desires to ensure the attainment of their objectives. Henry Ford has been generally misunderstood to be ruthless and cold-blooded. This misconception grew out of Ford's habit of following through all of his plans with persistence. The majority of people are ready to throw their aims and purposes overboard and give up at the first sign of opposition or misfortune. A few carry on despite all opposition until they attain their goal. These few are the Fords, Carnegies, Rockefellers, and Edisons. There may be a heroic connotation to the word persistence, but the quality is to character what carbon is to steel. The building of a fortune generally involves the application of the entire 13 factors of this philosophy. These principles must be understood. All who accumulate money must apply them with persistence. If you're reading this book with the intention of applying the knowledge it conveys, the first test of your persistence will come when you begin to follow the 6 steps described in the 2nd chapter. Unless you are one of the 2 of the very 100 who already have a defined goal at which you are aiming and a defined plan for its attainment, you may read the instructions and then carry on with your daily routine, never complying with those instructions. The author is checking you up at this point because lack of persistence is one of the major causes of failure. Moreover, experience with thousands of people who prove that lack of persistence is a weakness common to the majority of people. It is a weakness that may be overcome by effort. The ease with which lack of persistence may be conquered will depend entirely upon the intensity of one's desire. The starting point of all achievement is desire. Keep this consistently in mind. Weak desires bring weak results, just as a small amount of fire makes a small amount of heat. If you find yourself lacking in persistence, this weakness may be remedied by building a strong fire until a fire under your desires. Continue to read to the end, then go back to chapter 2 and start immediately to carry out the instructions given in the 6th step. The eagerness with which you follow these instructions will indicate clearly how much or how little you really desire to accumulate money. If you find that you are indifferent, you may be sure that you have not yet acquired the money consciousness, which you must possess before you can be sure of accumulating a fortune. Fortunes gravitate to people whose minds have been prepared to attract them, just as surely as water gravitates to the ocean. In this book may be found all the stimuli necessary to attune any normal mind to the vibrations that will attract the object of one's desires. If you find you are weak in persistence, center your attention upon the instructions contained in chapter 10 on power. Surround yourself with a mastermind group and develop persistence through the cooperative efforts of the members of this group. You will find additional instructions for the development of persistence in chapter 4 on autosuggestion and chapter 12 on the subconscious mind. Follow the instructions outlined in these chapters until your habit nature hands over to your subconscious mind a clear picture of the object of your desire. From that point on, you will not be handicapped by lack of persistence. Your subconscious mind works consistently while you are awake and while you are asleep. Spasmodic or occasional effort to apply the rules will be of no value to you. To get results, you must apply all of the rules until their application becomes a fixed habit with you. In no other way can you develop the necessary money consciousness. Poverty is attracted to one whose mind is favorable to it, as money is attracted by prepared to attract it. And through the same laws, poverty consciousness will voluntarily seize the mind that is not occupied with money consciousness. A poverty consciousness develops without conscious application of habits favorable to it. The money consciousness must be created to order unless one is born with such a consciousness. Catch the full significance of the statements in the preceding paragraph and you will understand the importance of persistence in the accumulation of a fortune. Without persistence, you will be defeated and even before you start. With persistence, you will win. If you have ever experienced a nightmare, you will realize the value of persistence. You're laying in bed, half awake, with a feeling that you are about to suffocate. You're unable to turn over or to move a muscle. You realize that you must begin to regain control over your muscles. Through persistent effort of willpower, you will finally manage to move the fingers of one hand. By continuing to move your fingers, you extend your control to the muscles of one arm until you can lift it. Then you gain control of the other arm in the same manner. You finally gain control over the muscles of one leg and then extend it to the other leg. Then, with one supreme effort of will, you regain complete control over your muscular system and snap out of your nightmare. The trick has been turned step by step. You may find it necessary to snap out of your mental inertia through a similar procedure, moving slowly at first, then increasing your speed until you can gain complete control over your will. Be persistent no matter how slow you may at first have to move. With persistence will come success. If you select your mastermind group with care, you will have in it at least one person who will aid you in the development of persistence. Some people who have accumulated great fortunes did so because of necessity. They developed the habit of persistence because they were so closely driven by circumstances they had to become persistent. There is no substitute for persistence. It cannot be sublated by any other quality. Remember this in the beginning. It will hearten you when the going may seem difficult and slow. Those who have cultivated the habit of persistence seem to enjoy insurance against failure. No matter how many times they are defeated, they finally arrive up near the top of the ladder. Sometimes it appears there is a hidden guide whose duty is to test people through all sorts of discouraging experiences. Those who pick themselves up after defeat and keep on trying arrive, and the world cries, "Bravo, I knew you could do it." The hidden guide lets no one enjoy great achievement without passing the persistent test. Those who can't take it simply do not make the grade. Those who can take it are bountifully rewarded for their persistence. They receive as their compensation whatever goal they are pursuing. This is not at all. They receive something infinitely more important than material compensation, the knowledge that every failure brings with it at the seed of an equivalent advantage. A few people knew from experience the soundness of persistence. They are the ones who have not accepted defeat as being anything more than temporary. They are the ones whose desires are so persistently applied that defeat is finally changed into victory. We who stand on the solid lines of life see the overwhelmingly large number who go down in defeat, never to rise again. We see the few who take the punishment of defeat as an urge to greater effort. These fortunate never learn to accept life's reverse gear. But what we do not see, what most of us never suspect of existing, is a silent but irresistible power which comes to the rescue of those who fight on in the face of discouragement. If we speak of this power, if we speak of this power at all, we call it persistent and let it go at that. One thing we all know: if one does not possesses persistence, one does not achieve noteworthy success in any calling. A good example of the power of persistence is show business. From all over the world, people who come to Hollywood seeking fame, fortune, power, love, or whatever it is that human beings call success. Once in a great while, someone steps out from the long procession of seekers, and the world that another person has mastered hardware. Well, hardware is not easily nor quickly conquered. It acknowledges talent, recognizes genius, and pays off in money only after one has refused to quit. The secret is always inseparable, attached to one word: persistent. Bruce Lee, the actor who made us conscious of the Asian martial arts, might have been forgotten long ago were it not for his persistence in reaching for movie stardom. Lee arrived in America from China with nothing but a dream and the capacity for hard work. During his youth, he started to master kung fu and later became a teacher of this art. However, his real goal was to be an actor. He obtained minor roles in some films and TV programs, but he felt his great work came when he learned that the procedure of a new television series called Kung Fu were looking for an actor who knew the martial arts for the starring role. His scene test was successful and he looked forward to being given the role, but to his great disappointment, another actor, David Carradine, was chosen. Disillusionized, he was ready to give up acting and go back to teaching. When members of the Asian community heard of this, he was disillusioned with letters asking him to not give up. Soon the word spread to movie fans of all races, and Lee made his mind to keep seeking new roles. He never gave up. He took roles in several films, and his reputation as an actor and proponent of the martial arts made him a household name throughout the world. He took the study of the martial arts from being limited to Asian countries to becoming universally respected. Although he died of a cerebral hemorrhage at the age of 32, his fame has lived after him. Bruce Lee is not only still remembered and and admired by fans, many of whom were not even born when he made his movies, but TV series and early films have been made into movies and are still highly popular all over the world. Persistence is a state of mind, so it can be cultivated. Like all states of mind, persistence is based upon defined causes, including number one, definitiveness of purpose. Knowing that you want is first and perhaps the most important step toward the development of persistence. A strong motive forces you to surmount many difficulties. Number two, desire. It is comparatively easy to acquire and maintain persistence in pursuing the object of intense desire. Number three, self-resilience. Belief in your ability to carry out a plan encourages you to follow the plan through with persistence. Self-resilience can be developed through the principle described in Chapter 4 on auto-suggestion. Number 4, definiteness of plans. Organized plans, even though they may be weak and entirely impractical, encourage persistence. Number 5, accurate knowledge. Knowing that your plans are sound based upon experience or observation encourages persistence. Guessing instead of knowing destroys persistence. Number 6, cooperation. Sympathy, understanding, and harmonious cooperation with others tend to develop persistence. Number 7, willpower. The habit of concentrating your thoughts upon the building of plans for the attainment of a defined purpose leads to persistence. Number 8, habit. Persistence is the direct result of habit. The mind absorbs and becomes a part of the daily experiences upon which it feeds. Fear, the worst of all enemies, can be effectively cured by forced repetition of acts of courage. Everyone who has seen active service in war knows this. Before leaving the subject of persistence, take an inventory of yourself. Determine what particularly, if any, you are lacking in this essential quality. Measure yourself courageously, point by point, and see how many of the 8 factors of persistence you lack. That analysis may lead to discoveries that will give you a new grip on yourself. I think this has probably been my favorite start of a chapter. Really goes into depth about persistence and talks about not only key factors about persistence, but also key stories about Bruce Lee and whatnot. It's really fascinating to see a story, someone like Bruce Lee who, passed away at a young age, never to give up. And I think the key takeaway from this chapter, and it's only the beginning of the chapter, is that persistence, if you do it correctly or if you do it intentionally, it is more likely that you will become successful, or you will accumulate the fortunes that you want. That's simple. And obviously there's books about persistence, but most importantly there's a book about grit, and I think those two tied in together. Amelia Duckworth talked about grit and how that is the number one characteristic and personality that makes a successful person. Grit and persistence, being able to show up and being able to never give up, says a lot. So yeah, see you guys tomorrow. Peace.